Hello everyone, it's Carrots. I wanted to take a minute really quick and thank you all for subscribing and for your kind, encouraging comments. You guys are so lovely. I'm doing a giveaway this week, so please comment below with your username and any color schemes or styles that you would like for me to do. Or any ideas you have of builds that I could help you with, please let me know and I'll be happy to try to come up with something. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this very inexpensive, simple kitchen in the family home with a rainy window. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to add some color to this because it just feels like I'm doing too much white. So I'm going to pick this one right here. It's a little expensive. I really like it. Nice kitchen floor. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a sink down and center it. And we want to make sure that it doesn't come across this door. Do you see this line actually lines up perfectly? So this gives me an idea of where to put this. Okay, that looks good. It's not perfectly centered, but I think this is going to look really good. Now I'm going to go in and change these colors really quick to match our floor. Let's get started on our window. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bird bath. I am not going to have the ceiling go as high as it is. I'm actually going to probably bring it down. Okay, now that we have our bird bath, let's figure out the dimensions of our window. So let's throw down a barrier. I'm going to move this grid size back to large so that stuff snaps. We don't want our window to go past this point, obviously, because we want to have the cabinet uninterrupted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this here, and then let's grab our bricks. We're going to do a nice big window. So this looks good. These look centered. So let's color them. All right, let's take a look. I'm going to sell this barrier. That is a good window. So this is what we're going to go with. See how this is poking through up here? I'm going to drop the ceiling a little bit to hide that. I mean, we could try to move this back, but I just think that's an easier solution. Now, since I made a wider window, I am going to add 2 more bird baths. So we have rain covering the whole area. There we go. All right, now let's add some trees. So I'm going to throw down another barrier, of course, because this is how you set things down. I'm going to try to get it back against this wall. And we're going to start dropping in some bricks to make the ground. And I'm going to color these that nice green that was out back so it matches. It looks like the same yard. All right, that's good. And let's throw down some trees. Okay, now that we've added these, I am going to cover them up with some green bricks. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now it's time to add a mirror back there. And we're going to put this back together. Now I'm going to take a second and I am going to throw a barrier on the ceiling to hide a bunch of this because that'll help make it's an easy solution to my problem of those bird baths. And there we have the ceiling. Now I'm going to put a barrier down and finish up this wall. All right, I'm going to put some bricks down on this side to fill in this space. Thrown down a barrier and we're going to frame out the bottom of the window. See how I want it to come up a little bit past the green and frame out right here. So I am going to put this back and then I'm going to put that glass barrier back again. And that looks good. Now I am going to throw down the rest of the kitchen elements. I think it would be fun to do a double oven. So I'm going to show you guys how to do a double oven and how to put something in the oven. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw down a barrier. We want to bring it down a little bit below here. And we're going to put some donuts in the oven. Plus the nice thing is when you're leveling, you can pull them out of the oven to eat, and it's kind of handy and they're hidden away. And I like hiding away things to do to level because I think it's cute. So because it's sticking out, I'm just going to pull these ovens out just a little bit, and I will fill this in back here with bricks. Now, do you see this? Now what I'm going to do is it looks like they're poking through, and I don't like that. So I'm going to raise these up just a little bit. It's going to be going back into this other stove, and that's okay because it will be hidden. There. Now we're going to put a fire under here. So we're going to grab our candles, the small, you don't want the candle to show, and we're just going to slide a couple candles back there. And now we have an oven with stuff cooking. Now what we're going to do is we're also going to put something cooking on the top of the stove. So on the same side, because these donuts will help hide the candles, I'm going to drop this down here. I'm going to put a candle underneath this burner. And then I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to put a tea kettle. There we go. All right, I'm going to continue on decorating this kitchen. So I'm just going to move this over and I'm going to cover this with the fridge. Let's take a look. It does stick in a little bit and I don't like that. Let's move this back. All right, we need to move this over. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of moving things around as I go. Sometimes you just got to play with things until they get in the right place. There we go. That looks good. Let's move that tea kettle over. All right, let's decorate our countertop. I find that this pizza menu right here has a lot of great stuff for the kitchen, so I usually go right to here. Again, as you can see, I am varying the height of items because it makes it more interesting when there's different heights. See how this is going to be a little taller than this? Because if everything is the same height, that gets boring and uninteresting. So I'm trying to find elements to put together that are different heights, and I try to do it in threes. And the rule is big, little, big, little, big, little, big, little. And that's a really great way to get added interest. So this knife rack, for example, is kind of tall, and I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this over here because it adds this variation of height that people find interesting. And I wanted to make it look like maybe we're preparing some vegetables. So I'm going to throw some peppers down over here. I'm going to take a barrier and I'm going to add a towel in front of the sink because it adds a certain kind of softness and makes it lived in. Got our bottle of dish soap right here. I'm using this small grid while I do this so I can control exactly where stuff is going. I feel like we need something, it needs some color up here. So I am going to add something that looks like a blind up here, using boards. All right, it's time to add in the kitchen table. We need a table that's a little smaller because this is a smaller area. I really like this because this fabric does add some softness, and I really like that. All right, that brown looks really good. Now we need some chairs. I'm gonna go with these basic dining chairs. And then I'm going to add, I love lanterns and candles and anything that adds warmth because this feels very cool to me. I think I'm going to suspend this from the ceiling really quick. And here's how I do it. It's actually a very easy thing to do. You grab a barrier. You grab a regular light. And I want it to be a kind of low, but not too low. And make sure it's centered over the table. And then we move this barrier down just a little bit because I don't want this to show on the bottom of my light. So I'm going to have it be just a little bit, and then you're just a little bit lower. And then you grab your light and you center it in here so it looks like it's hanging. And you can use anything you want on here, any kind of light you want. Now let's add a nice little place setting. So this needs something to make this more interesting. I feel like this area over here is kind of dull. So there's lots of ways you can do this. I'm going to use this solution, but you could use any kinds of rugs or posters or anything you want. There. And that makes it just a little more interesting over on that side because I felt like that was getting kind of boring. And there we are. There we have it. A quick, cheap kitchen.